first speaker is Vanest Avergel. Am I pronouncing that correct? V-A-N-E-S-T?
My name is Vanessa Avergel at 58 Rose Street, Smithtown, New York. Good afternoon, members of the council. I'm here to request your help in calling for an end-to-end audit of the New York State Board of Elections. I'm a 20-year resident of Smithtown and have raised 3 children in this community of hard workers striving to provide a safe environment to raise their family on their own terms. Our local Smithtown government has done a highly commendable job in making this goal our reality. Now, however, among other things, our town's own zoning laws made on our terms are being threatened by those who don't live here. The obvious reason for this is the disenfranchisement of our votes. An open-source citizens audit of the 2020 general election in New York shows there are 2.4 million New York State voter ID numbers attached to 1.2 million registrants. If this number represents one person, one vote, who controls the extra votes? I would like to know whose vote is worth more than mine. I'm clearly being underrepresented here. We have 95 legislators who cannot prove they won. They're in office from races where the margin of error was below that of the number of illegal votes. There are 1.9 million registrations in the state voter rolls missing from the county voter rolls. If the county controls the rolls, how should the state have what the county does not? These errors are far beyond the margin of error allowed by election law, and they must be addressed and fixed. Furthermore, they cast a big shadow of doubt that the lawmakers representing us are the people that we wanted. I need your help to address the discrepancies by following up with our County Board of Elections and the state. I kindly request this council to call for an end-to-end audit of the New York State Board of Elections. Our voter rolls are in disarray, and no one knows how many votes are valid. The citizens audit also shows database-level manipulation, and this should frighten everyone in the state. New York State voter rolls, as part of our national security infrastructure, have been breached and compromised, and they are being manipulated, and this is being ignored. We are deprived of our legal right for our vote to count. This data calls for an end-to-end audit of the New York State Board of Elections. I thank you all for listening and implore you to act now. Thank you.
Thank you. Roy Reynolds.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak this afternoon. My name is Roy Reynolds, and I'm actually from Brookhaven town, so don't hold that against me. But I'm following up on one of my colleagues' speeches just now. She spoke about the deficit report and voting integrity. So I'm working with a group of citizens here in Smithtown and Suffolk County, and we're involved with voting integrity, especially the voting rolls. It is our goal today to raise your awareness of voting irregularities in New York State and ask for your help. Most recently, we've been reviewing the New York State voter rolls, technically known as the New York State Voter Database, which of course includes residents of Smithtown and Suffolk County. It's supposed to be an accurate list of people who are eligible to vote. In 2021, a copy of New York State Voter Database was obtained and reviewed for accuracy and integrity. The data came from the New York State Board of Elections, the county voting rolls, and New York State Secretary of State. Okay, I have a copy of the report here, which I'd like to submit to you. You should have received this already, and I'll give it to the clerk later on. The report is known as a deficits report, and it found serious inconsistencies in voter rolls. It affects residents of Smithtown and New York State. What the report found is that the voter rolls are not accurate, unqualified voters are voting, and the number of votes are not equaling the number of voters who voted. As an example, for the 2020 election, the report found over 338,000 more votes were cast than voters who voted. There were over 740,000 ineligible votes statewide, and over 2.4 million New York State voter ID numbers were assigned to less than 1.2 million residents. These 2.4 million registrants are known as clone voters, which have multiple voter ID numbers and can vote, and in some cases are voted multiple times in the same election. There should only be one state voter ID number per voter. Clone voters have been found in the town of Smithtown and the counties through the state. To this end, we could use your support. In the upcoming, we would appreciate a full end-to-end audit, as my colleague had mentioned, by professionals. And in the upcoming weeks, a resolution will be submitted for your consideration, calling for a statewide audit of the New York State voter database. The voter rolls have been compromised and need to be corrected. We need your help. Thank you for your time, and I know there's some other people who want to speak, but I don't see them here yet. I guess,
Mr.
my
Reynolds,
colleagues.
Have your group gone to the state senator and the Suffolk County legislature yet?
They've been to the Suffolk County legislature, yes.
Okay.
They also been to the state, and they're kind of in disbelief as to what's going on. And I don't think they quite understand what we found. And, you know, it's...
Well, submit your material to the clerk, and we will, or I will contact Senator Matera and our representative on the Suffolk County legislature, and I'll share your report with them and have that conversation.
Great.
Let them know that we're here.
Do you have a name for the group that you're?
Concerned citizens.
Okay. Do you have like a petition or Facebook page or?
Well, Audit New York are the people who did the report. Audit New York, right? Citizens Audit New York. They did
Okay,
the report.
okay.
They hired the consultants to do the analysis
Okay.
of the data.
All right.
There's a lot of data with that.
Thank you.
Patrick Nguyen.
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Nguyen. I am a resident of Smithtown, a citizen of Smithtown. You can, don't hold that against me, though. My wife and I have raised 4 kids here in this concert. They've all attended Sachem schools. And what Roy and Van Est had been speaking about is also a concern of mine regarding our elections. That deficits report I've reviewed several times, and there's no question that the information has come from the New York State Board of Elections, as well as the Secretary of State's office and county boards of elections. And my concern is, having gone through this, you know, there's doubts. And I can see people questioning and doubting even the deficits report, but the problem isn't necessarily the doubts or the questions, it's the ignoring of these concerns. And they're genuine, and if you look at that data, I think most of the people that we're familiar with can either alleviate the doubts or answer the questions. And, you know, they're gonna present you guys with a resolution to audit the 2022 general elections, because they also have data that they've gathered concerning those. And, you know, Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution guarantees to every one of us a Republican form of government. And my concern is if somehow our elections are compromised, we no longer have a representative democracy or a republic. And you know, that casts doubt on how we're actually governed. So my biggest concern is that that deficit report be reviewed by the town board, the resolution that you're going to be presented with be seriously considered, and as a citizen, all these people are volunteers, they put this stuff together at their own expense and on their own time, and I don't think that should be extraordinary. I think that's actually required of us. But as elected officials, what's required of you is to look at these resolutions, look at that deficits report, and if you have doubts, don't ignore them, ask the questions. But when you're presented with this resolution, I'm gonna have to insist that it be signed or, I'm sorry, I can't find the word, but you have to look into it. You have to actually take it very seriously, and as a citizen, I think we have to insist at this point that it be seriously considered and adopted.
When are these resolutions coming forth?
Shortly you'll be receiving
And
them.
you'll make sure we receive that?
Absolutely. I'll bring them to you myself if I need to.
That's fine.
All right?
Correct.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That's it? Okay. That concludes the board meeting for today. Thank you all for coming. Go out there and be safe. Move to close the meeting.